Hey, what's going on, guys? Chris from the Blu-ray Critic. Welcome to another edition of my Blu-ray Pickups haul. And I got a few releases going for this week, including this brand new one called A Ghost Story, starring Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. And what's interesting about this film, they filmed it using leftover money from the reboot edition of Disney's Pete's Dragon, and it happens to be directed by the same guy, David Lowery. And yeah, this is a quite an interesting film, and it's very atmospheric at the same time. And the story is very simple. It's about this husband played by Casey Affleck, in which he tragically dies and comes back as a ghost. And he tries to, go to the house where he was living with his wife to see if his wife will, feel his presence being there. And yeah, it's nicely shot. It's very mellow. It's a very mellow film, and it might make you even fall asleep. At times, I did kind of fall asleep, but it's just because it was very relaxing, not because it's boring. But it's definitely worth a look, and it has a few special features as well. And the aspect ratio for this film is quite interesting. It was shot using the same aspect ratio as the Blair Witch Project. They might have, later on in post-production made the aspect ratio look like this. But yeah, it has that similar aspect ratio as the Blair Witch Project, which is in the 1.33 with the, rounded corners. But anyway, so picture and audio-wise, I'm going to rate this one a 4 out of a 5. There's a slight bit of banding here and there, like in dark scenes. But other than that, it's a, nice-looking transfer, what it is, and decent black levels. And here's a quick look at the back. And as far as special features, you get a behind-the-scenes featurette, as well as a deleted scene, and also a composer's story featurette, and a audio commentary with the director Dave Lowery and the crew. And at the bottom here, it says 1.78 for the aspect ratio, but that is definitely a typo. It's 1.33. So anyway, that is A Ghost Story. And next up, I got the 4K release of Kick-Ass, which was released in theaters way back in 2010. Jeez, man, can't believe it's been that long already. But anyway, they haven't announced the release for the second one yet, for the sequel on 4K. So I guess they're going to wait and see how the sales do for this first film, and then they'll release the second one later on. But actually, I was quite impressed how great this looks on 4K. And keep in mind, this also features Dolby Vision. So it's just going to be more crisper and livelier in color. It's just going to have more punch to it, with the HDR and stuff, comparing it to the regular Blu-ray edition. So I'm going to rate the picture quality for the 4K for this film a 4.5 out of a 5, and the Blu-ray presentation a 4 out of a 5. And also note that this film was completed in 2K as far as post-production, so essentially it's been upscaled for this 4K release. And as far as special features, you get the same stuff that were previously included on the regular Blu-ray edition, so you just port it over for this 4K release. And the aspect ratio for this film is in the 2:40 format, and that is kick-ass. The next film I picked up this week is Steven Spielberg's classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the 4K release. And I have to say, I'm really happy to see that Sony's starting to release their 4K titles. They also just announced Jumanji, the Robin Williams film, so that's going to be pretty cool. And at some point, I'd like to see Lawrence of Arabia and, of course, the Die Hard films. I'm sure that'll be coming too, because those are major studio titles. But I haven't seen this on 4K yet, but heard a lot of great stuff about it, so can't wait to check it out. Next up is Tough Guys with Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, released in 1986. And this is put out by Kino Lorber on Blu-ray. And the film is about these two seniors where after spending 30 years in prison, they become, free men, and how they're going to start their life again and the crazy shenanigans they come across. And it also co-stars Eli Wallach, who, for me, steals the show. But yeah, the film started off very promising, but then it took a very silly turn. But it's okay for what it was. It's still pretty cool to see Burt and Kirk together on screen. And as far as special features, you just get an audio commentary and a theatrical trailer. The next movie I got is a film noir classic starring Ida Lupino and Robert Ryan called On Dangerous Ground, directed by Nicolas Ray, and also co-directed by Ida Lupino, at least a few scenes, because Nicolas Ray was out sick, so Ida took charge behind the camera. And this is essentially like two different movies in one. First, it starts off very noir in the city, very dark and mysterious. Then it takes a whole different turn. The film goes out in the outskirts and out of the city, in this country town where it's snowing. But yeah, the movie's okay for a film noir. I know a lot of people love this one, but honestly, for my taste, it was just an average film noir. Because Ida Lupino's character really annoyed me. She plays this blind woman, and yeah, I just didn't care for her character. But anyway, so that's the discard on that, and you just get a commentary with this one as far as special features. The next movie I got is another classic called In the Heat of the Night, starring the great Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger. And I actually had a chance to see this film when I was very young, in my early teens. But obviously at that time, I was too young to really appreciate it. But yeah, really happy to get this for $5. But I heard that they remastered this in 4K, so can't wait to check that out. Hopefully that edition will come out to Blu-ray soon. But yeah, for $5, can't complain for a great classic. My next pickup is my favorite submarine film of all time, starring Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin, In the Hunt for Red October. And this is a film that I grew up watching. It was basically on replay on cable constantly in the 90s and early 2000s. So I definitely wasn't in a rush to pick up the Blu, but I got this for $4.50, so a really cheap price. But they actually released this again on Blu-ray with different artwork, but I didn't care for that one. I liked the original better, so yeah, went ahead with this one. And the last film I picked up this week is a musical called Guys and Dolls, starring Marlon Brando and Frank Sinatra. And this is a film that I saw a few times on TCM, but only had a chance to see just bits and pieces, not from beginning to end. So I figured, what the hell, let me get the Blu-ray and check it out, because a lot of people talk about how good it is, so we'll see. But unfortunately, it's only released as a digibook, and as I mentioned in my previous update, I'm not a huge fan of digibooks. I like the regular cases better. So hopefully down the line, they'll release it in the regular case too on this, but yeah, looks like a nice set though. Cool. So anyway, thanks for taking a look, guys. As usual, take care, and I'll see you guys soon in my next update.